I mean, they fuck black people up. You go on a lot of jobs, and you don't see black people a lot of jobs. They give it to, like, a lot of jobs, you give it to Hispanic and Armenians. Like, the people that treat you the best out there are some of the white people out there. But we know that the majority of people out there are different formers and stuff like that. And a lot of them, they don't even like black people out there. I ain't know that was such a thing of a minority not liking black people talking out there. So, so it's like, y'all always say y'all's a free state. It's not racist here or shit like that. A person coming from the South that know what racism is, and seeing how y'all get treated out there, y'all get treated like it's like the 1960s out there. Dead ass. Some of y'all be blindsided to the shit. But people from the South, to the hell is going on, y'all get followed in the store, y'all get an altercation with somebody, you got 8 squad cars and a helicopter pulling up. You try and get a job, they tell you that if your name's Antonio, you will pull up and they see you as a black man. They're like, oh, job got filled up. To y'all, not to y'all, because I don't know you personally. So a lot of people out there, they feel like, oh, that's just normal. So a lot of us, it's like, no, that's not fucking normal. You feel me? I wouldn't use California as an example about permanent action. It's all great here because it's really not.
One thing that and I'm trying to say, in my thinking is stay focused in relationship to the bill and my concern. And I'm, it's 2 things that I kind of frame as a concept. The demographics of the historical demographics of black people in America, and the historical demographic of poor black people in America. That's when I'm looking at this. One thing that is interesting to me is that when we're even talking about this particular iteration of the bill, which is an expansion, if we look at what happened during Clinton, we're not talking, we don't contextualize it in the long march, say, from Reagan, and making the point that, that was when one of the strategic proclamations that to privatize everything, right? To privatize all social things, that the government wouldn't be funding any social programs for those who need. Now, and when we look at it in relationship to black people, as I said earlier, it always gives me the population of black people who are willingly to write off as a demographic another population of black people, in the sense of they don't want to work, they're too lazy, the elderly possibly don't need, Medicare, Medicaid, or they're the ones who are just, have certain disabilities. They don't need these social programs. Or if they do, they're okay with having the private companies, knowing how private companies work in America, take the burden of that. That's one framing that, really concerns me. And I recognize I have to deal with time, because there's a lot of elements that this budget reflects. And I said Reagan in relationship to privatization, but if we go back to Nixon, how the white nationalists, who are the base of 47, whether you call, the iration of the Tea Party, or the iration of the white Christian nationalists, that how they have been able to maneuver since Nixon to be able to be the populist foundation, that 77 million that 47 got, that looks at this thing as a good thing. This budget looks at that as a good thing, even if it hurts them. And that gets to that class collaboration. But if it hurts them, that adage of, white people get a cold, black people get pneumonia, it makes me wonder. And the way this budget is presented in the sense of what it takes away from those who are those social and bureaucracy programs, it makes me raise the question of whether what is going to be the social reaction for mothers who have to clock in that amount of time of work in order to get